I made so many mistakes the first time I started in the gym, and I could have got here a lot quicker had I not made these mistakes. So here are some of the top mistakes to fix so you can make better progress than I did. The first real mistake that I made is I had no clear plan. I would go into the gym, look at what is free and just wing it and just do some random exercises. And eventually then I realized, hey, most people seem to have a plan. Let me just follow what the big guy says in the gym. And there wasn't a big guy, so say a medium guy, and follow what he's doing. But the problem is he didn't even know what he was doing. So I had this plan that I had cobbled together through watching other people, watching some YouTube, and trying to apply that to my own level of experience. And funny enough, it didn't work that well. Everything works well for a period of time, a short period of time. And then you run into plateaus and you're like, right, what do I actually need? So you need to have a frank and honest assessment of where you're at skill level wise. How experienced are you in the gym? What have you done previously? What are your weak points? What do you need to work on? And this is how I craft plans for my client. I look at where they're at, their skill level, and craft something that is unique to them. And this is what you need to do for yourself. You need to figure out, honestly, where are you at? And how much time do you have to dedicate? I thought I needed to be in the gym 6 days a week. I didn't. The recovery was not good, and I wasted so much time doing all these exercises, doing high volume, low volume. I think I did try CrossFit for a bit, which, yeah, no comment. There's so many times that I just wasted. So get a clear plan to where you're at in your current level of training. When I first started the gym, it was an intimidating place. I walked in, there was all these random machines that I had never seen. There were guys grunting, and I was this incredibly skinny, low confidence kid that had no idea what he was doing. I would just watch people, and what I realized is most people don't know what they're doing. But I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted massive arms and some big pecs, and that's kind of all that I cared about. So I focused on doing arms all the time, chest all the time, and it was so stupid, but I didn't know better, because guess what? You need recovery. So I would go around doing every possible arm exercise possible, follow Arnold Schwarzenegger's routine. Turns out I'm not Arnold, and do all these things, just watching people, trying to learn and figure out and cobble together how I could get to my dream physique. I made so many mistakes in the process. It was an intimidating place. Back then, no one really talked to each other. You know, it was just like grunts, and you know, there wasn't this friendly YouTube community either. I made a lot of mistakes which wasted a lot of time. I mean, I remember one of the biggest mistakes ever is on a lat pull down that it had a chart where it said lats or latissimus dorsi. And I would do a lats day and then a back day. Yeah, they're the same thing, but I was onto something. I just didn't know quite then how to put it together. So lots of mistakes, watching other people, doing all the things that you think you would need to do, like, you know, training arms lots, doing lots of flat bench press, all these kind of things, because that's what everyone else did. And my results were mediocre at best. Now, I haven't always been this incredible carved slab of chocolate you see before you. I can guarantee you this, if you listen to me, you can achieve your own transformation way quicker than if you don't listen to my advice, because I made all the mistakes so you don't have to. One of the big mistakes that I made initially was focusing too much on isolation movements. Isolation movements are single joint exercises that focus on one area. So bicep curls, leg extension, all this kind of stuff. I wanted massive arms, so I really focused on isolating everything. And in reality, it slows down time, and you might not be at the level where isolation work might not be needed for you. Because quite frankly, compound movements are more bang for your buck initially. And as you get really strong, then maybe you can diversify into a lot more isolations. But most of you are not at the level where your strength levels are crazy, you're lifting insane amounts of stuff, you're not overly muscled. So compound movements are the most efficient form initially to get a lot of return on your investment on time. Really important to do that. So get strong at the compound movements, your squat, a bench press. I don't recommend a flat barbell bench press. See my other video for why. A deadlift variation. Getting really strong, incorporating pull-ups, dips. These are your foundational exercises, and then you can sprinkle in other things from there. If I could go back in time, I really would have focused more on those initially in the first early years, and I would have transformed a lot quicker. Intensity is the biggest mistake I see a lot of people. Luckily, when I started out, I was young. I trained too hard, I would say. I would train for hours, and at that point it becomes counterproductive. But most of you just aren't getting close to the limit. You get a bit of a burn, a bit uncomfortable, you stop. Where it gets painful is where the rep starts. And if you can really change your mindset into really enjoying and capitalizing on that, your gains will improve so much and everything will happen a lot quicker. Learn to enjoy the pain. Everyone has heard that cliche saying, no pain, no gain. And there is a merit to some of that for sure. If you can learn a couple times in your workout, really go there, really take it to a really intense place, that's gonna yield a lot more benefit for you. What I mean by this is not stopping when it gets a little uncomfortable, trying to get as close to muscle failure as possible. And if you're not at the point where you can get muscle failure, get as close to form failure and then stop. Those are really, really important things to do to kind of speed up your process. Now, obviously, use some common sense here. There are certain exercises that you shouldn't do to failure by yourself. A barbell squat, do not recommend. That's how I exploded my quad tendon. A barbell bench press, super not safe. You know, you don't want to get trapped under the bar. But these are kind of the big exercises that you probably don't want to risk. And to a degree, there's an argument of a deadlift. You know, when the form is really compromised, it's not worth popping some discs to get that rep up. So these exercises probably you don't want to push too hard to get to that failure. It's not the safest of options. This is where machines and cables are fantastic. They have this great ability, it's safe. You don't have to worry about stabilizing the movement. You can focus on the muscle. Machines are a great exercise and cables to go to form failure with, and I would prioritize sticking those in. Another mistake, cardio. I was always trying to grow muscle, so I was so scared of cardio. And I wish that I incorporated cardio because apart from the health benefits, which is great, you know, we all want to live a longer, healthier, better quality of life. Your training will get more efficient and more beneficial when you incorporate cardio. It's so important because you're improving the blood flow around your body, which your muscles need. So when you incorporate cardio, guess what? You'll be able to train more intensely, which means you're going to progress better and you're going to get more gains. Now, cardio as well, everyone thinks you need to run. You know, you see so many people running for fat loss, all that kind of stuff. You don't need to run for fat loss. In fact, for most people, I advise against it. Steps, walking, getting out there is the most natural thing and easiest thing for you to do that doesn't have a lot of strain on your central nervous system. So when you're low energy, you've got a lot of stress and stuff like that, going out for a walk is going to make you feel so much better. You're going to burn those more calories and it's more enjoyable than psyching yourself up for some 10-mile run that you're going to have to do because you think you're going to burn fat. Do not underestimate walking. I have so many clients and myself that burn so many calories just through walking. You know, the 10K minimum steps, cool. But if you can get above that, that's where a lot of the magic will happen. If you are quite obese or have a lot of fat, just doing 10K will dramatically change your body composition. Don't underestimate it. Cardio also helps your insulin sensitivity, which is going to help your ability to process nutrients and keep you leaner overall. The big factor of walking is mental health. So important. It's going to help you just feel so much better. Listen to a podcast, listen to some great music, and it's a really nice way of just getting some easy sunlight as well. And it's a really great form of cardio. Finally, when do you do the cardio? Biggest mistake I see people, they're doing it before their weight training. Stop it, please. Your weight training is more important than the cardio. It demands more energy and more calories. Do your cardio post-workout. Now, if you're super into bodybuilding, it's probably not best to do it post-workout because it might interfere with a level of recovery. If you can do it sandwiched away from your weight training, that might be better, but really, who has time? I do it post-workout, I'm okay. Another really important factor is the warm-up, limber up. It's such an important part, injury prevention, something I always used to skip because I don't have time for this. What is this? Now, a warm-up doesn't need to be anything crazy. A warm-up can be simply, let's say you're doing a bench press. You're warming up just the bar, practicing the movement. Then you do some light weight. Do that as a set. That's really all you need to do for a warm-up. You can do lots of activation exercises and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to tell you to do it. I don't do it, but you could do. If I've got really tight muscles, particularly in my legs, in my leg day, because I'm getting old, I like to foam roll a little bit as a bit of fascia release the knots in my muscles, and it's going to help me a little bit to be a bit more mobile in my squatting, my compound movement. And another aspect of me warming up, let's say for legs, is often I'll work the hamstrings just very lightly. You know, I'm talking like 10 to 15 reps. I'll do 3-4 sets to get some blood flow in the legs. It's not going to take away from the strength of my workout, but I do find, as I have suffered with knee pain after exploding my quad tendon, that the hamstrings, once they're warm, I'm going to get less knee pain. So warm-ups don't need to be a big crazy thing. It can just be exercise specific. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and you found it useful, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like, and get the bell notification so you can get more useful tips and stop wasting your time.